Are here with Bubbleman, the man who's responsible for all of this madness here. Why the hell did you take this crazy project on, Mark?
You know, that's kind of a hard question to answer. It's been a year and a half in the making. This space was originally supposed to be a space for my manager to have an office, if you could believe it or not. That's all I needed for the Bubble Bag Company, a small little office space. And on a beach in Jamaica, I had a friend call me and say, I found this space for you. It's I&I Commercial Drive. That's 1111 Commercial Drive. And I was sitting on a beach in Jamaica thinking that I could just be sitting enjoying the bubble bag thing for the next 10 or 20 years and watching my kids play on the beach thinking, you know, maybe I should start more projects. Maybe I should give back more to the community rather than just try and hoard for myself. And sort of undertook this project of getting this space, trying to turn it into something new that isn't easily categorized, you know. And I always had the idea of making it a gallery space, and so this really was the birth of our gallery. We've been here a year and a half, and this was our first show, and it was the birth of the Melting Point. And I couldn't think of a better theme to have started us out with.
So tell me what the intention was in bringing all of these glass artists and their work together. Why did you want to do that specifically?
Well, that's directly related to a relationship I have with Marbleslinger, the glass blower. So me and him have been talking about this. I mean, really, we've talked about this for years. And a year ago, in combination with me getting this space and not knowing a name and all these different things, over a year ago now, there was a show down in San Francisco at a gallery called the Melting Point Gallery, and it was a pipe show. And I wasn't able to go. I'm not allowed down in the U.S., but I saw pictures and a little bit of video of the show, and it really inspired me. I mean, the name inspired me so much that I called the gallery Melting Point Gallery. So that was a big part of the inspiration, and then just my relationship with Marbleslinger and the last few years have just been sort of on a collision course for this event to have happened. You know, he was my inspiration, and I think I was kind of his inspiration, and he really wanted to show the people up here that there's an entire community of glass that we don't know about because there's this border that keeps us divided. Like, I'm not allowed to go down there. They're afraid to come up here because they feel that when they go to the border, they're offering themselves up to the chopping block, even when they're not doing anything wrong. So, I mean, that was kind of our inspiration right there, you know.
This is the first event of its kind in Canada, which is very exciting.
I think so. I mean, I'm not everywhere in Canada at all times, but I haven't heard of such an event happening. And I mean, honestly, I'm a glass collector, and I know a lot about the glass community. Some of these pieces blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind. The themes, the concepts, the construction.
Okay, so here's the tough question, Mark. Which is your favorite piece?
Oh. Almost impossible to answer because there are so many different themes. You know, I like so many different pieces in the show for so many different reasons. The first piece to come in was the Jason Lee, which was that incredible motorcycle piece. That was actually a combo of Jason Lee and Steve Hops, I believe was his name, and they did an absolutely outstanding job. Really, I mean, it was the first piece to show up, and we opened it up and we see this motorcycle, and it just blew the top of everyone's heads off. It made us realize that this show is going to be impeccable. So also the Amber piece, the DJ right behind us here, the DJ and the breakdancer is just, I mean, it doesn't, you know, words don't even need to describe it. You just need to see a little bit of a picture of it or see it in real life. And it's so accurate, and with the jewelry added on to the pieces and little things like gluing a little tiny curly strap from the headphone down to the turntable. Every detail was perfect. I really enjoy that piece a lot.
You totally successfully wiggled out of my very tough question. So I'm going to ask it again in a different way. If you could choose one of these pieces to add to your collection as a smoking device, as something that you're, you know, inhaling your favorite resin through.
Yeah.
So we'll narrow the categories a little bit. So as a puffing piece, which one would you choose to add to your personal collection?
I mean, really, that is so difficult to answer. There's multiple pieces that the Max piece is so impressive to have that. I mean, you hold that in your hand and you feel that you could really take over a small third world country with that pipe, like a gauntlet holding it up in front of the people. It could be the one, but honestly, the Amber, the Max, there's so many that I love. It's hard to choose a favorite, honestly. The Jason Lee, they're all great. The artists all did an impeccable job, and honestly, if I had the cash, I'd buy every single one of them, and then I would have a pipe party where we would hit every single one of them, if I had my way.
What do you think was the greatest success of the opening of the show last night?
I think it was a combination of things. I think it was just, the artists showing up and really being positively pumped to have a venue to be able to display their art, which is now a criminalized industry down in America where they live. The fact that we really topped it off with the living raw foods. We had the outside access with the fire twirlers. Like, it just seemed to always keep getting better. And for me, I didn't even plan it all. Like, a lot of it was planned by my manager, Dondi, and Aaron had components. We were all components that were compartmentalized almost up to the very end, where we just sort of went click, 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 like Lego, and put them all together. So everyone did their part and played their part impeccably, and I think that's what made it go off as well as it did. Yeah.
So a couple of people have used the word movement around this art. And can you explain to me what that means to you in terms of this art and these pipe-making artists being a part of a movement? What are we moving towards? Where are we moving from?
Well, you know what? I think we're really, this pipe art is really sort of a front line for cannabis activism. I mean, a lot of these guys have been inspired by cannabis, but they are not allowed to come out of the closet with it because down in America, just admitting that condemns your work. So, they're in a place where they need to make their decisions based on fear. And I think part of the word movement is to try and, remove fear from your emotional vocabulary. Step up out of the fear, and that's what man, these guys are making these pieces every day. It sounds ridiculous to you guys out there, but literally they can get arrested and thrown in jail. They can be fined thousands of dollars. They can spend months in jail for blowing glass pipes that have no traces of resin in them, but merely for sending it over an imaginary line that was just put up to divide us, just to create more division, just to fill jails. So it's neat that Canada, bordering America, can be the venue for these guys to come up. It was very much the same for the modern artists who were fleeing Germany in the Nazi Germany time in '37 in Berlin, fleeing into Amsterdam and having these incredible squats, these huge art buildings. There's a few old ones in Amsterdam that have famous names, but these people were fleeing there to just save themselves and save their art. The fact that these guys make pipes is an expression of their freedom. And it's being condemned where they live. So anytime you do that, it's a big deal, and that's why the word movement comes in. They're a movement, and they've got to lift themselves up. Really, what I want to do with all this is I want to stop the divisions. We constantly divide ourselves. Even as a community of pipe blowers, we can divide ourselves and put ourselves into little balls. And I just like to break the bubbles, get things out into the mainstream, and show people that this really is art. It really is.
Thank you.
Right
You did a fabulous job.
All right.
And
Thanks for
next
the good
year,
words.
do we get to have it again next year?
Next
Is this
year
going to be an
gonna
annual event?
Absolutely. We'll do it next year. We're going to start planning it already. We definitely want to have panels of glass blowers. We want to make it like maybe even a 2-day event, but we'll definitely have a gallery show that will be will top this.
Blowers out there, you can start working on your pieces for next year's show.
Yes. Start working on your pieces, guys and girls.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hillary.
Marcel, thanks for sticking around a little bit so that we could chat today, the day after. I want to start by you telling me about this insanely beautiful piece here. Tell me exactly what it is and what it means to you and anything else that you want to say.
This piece is called Eternity. I made it in 2003. Well, you can see the tag here. It says, an artistic cycle describing the evolution of a medium from its inception through necessary function to a pure expression for its own sake. And it's kind of about every time humans get a hold of a technology, it's usually just a matter of time before they turn it towards artistic expression. And some technologies actually get turned to a point where the artistic expression is the primary purpose of utilizing the technology. And that's kind of what this piece is about. You've got this sand, and people from sand, they started working with glass, and glass was a natural for preserving food and for making bowls and functional objects of all kinds. And so moving through that, people started making these functional objects, and then they started decorating them to make them fancier and stuff. And it eventually, at some point with glass, it became the function became the decoration rather than the vessel in the first place or the glass article. And so that's kind of what this is about. It's like there's all these things. You can make a bubbler, you can make a goblet, you can make a bowl, you can make a distilling apparatus for a pharmaceutical company, but then you can also take this same medium and make this thing that has no purpose other than to communicate or to fulfill my fancy as a maker.
And who is this creature?
I wouldn't say that it's so much of a who. I mean, it's kind of a phoenix rising sort of an entity. It's an energy creature. It's a being. I don't know that it has personality per se.
And when you started a project like this, did you already have a vision in mind of what it was going to turn out, or does it get a life of its own and grow into something other than what you thought it was going to between start and finish?
What I usually do is I come up with an idea, like something I want to do with it, before I come up with a form. So for this piece, I was interested in kind of conveying an idea before I was interested in making a form per se. And so it can be a harder way to go because you come up with this thought, this is something that's worth spending all this time, because it took us 3 months and thousands of dollars to be able to make this. So to take all that time and all that energy and just do something that that doesn't really have anything behind it, that's just a thing, it doesn't seem worth it to take all that time and energy. So we always try and have an idea going before we even start melting glass, and usually before we even start drawing form.
That's stunning. I'm glad that you spent the time and the resources, because it's totally mind-blowing. So last night was a pretty amazing night, and I'm wondering, as an artist, what the significance of last night was to you.
It was definitely a good time. I mean, it's really nice to get this piece out and have people see it and appreciate it. The art has to be seen. If it's not seen, then it's just might as well not exist in the first place. And so every opportunity I get to get it out there and have people experience it the way that I do, or start to have that experience with it, I like to see that. I like to have people get that chance to see it.
Thank you for bringing this beast up. In your homeland, down there in what to
Oregon.
Us as Canadians seems like the land of darkness. Although I know there are some very bright spots. Has the environment that you work in changed significantly with Ashcroft and all of the sort of bad guy crackdown on the pipes programs that's happening, or is it a little bit further out there? Are you feeling the impacts in your work and in your environment?
I think it's, honestly, it's a really long-term thing. Like, I don't feel that there's been this, huge shift in the recent past. I mean, things happened and some people were, their businesses were confiscated and they were taken to jail, but that's also something that's been going on steadily in the States and around other countries for a long time, and it's more a matter of a cycle of this, because it's a gray area and because it's sort of a semi-black market, it has just sort of a mixed bag of attributes that are in some ways helpful to the independent artist and in some ways not. I mean, for instance, one of the things that's really helpful about it being semi-black market is that there aren't corporations with a lot of money to just walk in and take over the market. For instance, with a clothing company like, for instance, Seedless, you've got the Seedless company and they're making all their clothes and stuff, but at some point, a company with overseas connections to have all this stuff made can walk in and just either try and forcibly buy the company and take over that brand and turn it into like part of the corporate juggernaut. Whereas with the glass pipes, that's much harder to do because of the legal issues. A company with that much to lose and that much investment can never take that course of action. You know, it's not going to happen the same way. And so it kind of leaves room for the little guy for the whole time. So it's definitely a mixed thing that it's hard to really like completely I just don't like to have a totally negative outlook on it, on anything for that matter. But
see the opportunities in just about anything.
Exactly, because the world is messed up anyways. So you have to just look at what is really there and capitalize on what's there, whatever it is.
So, how long have you been blowing glass floor altogether?
Just about 10 years.
So in that time, you have invested yourself into a huge amount of art and incredible pieces that have now been spread out in the world, that are off in other people's homes. And if there was one piece that you've made that's made its way out there in the world that you could have back, which one would it be and why?
The one piece that I would like to have back never actually left my possession.
You've got it.
I've still got it.
That's very good forward thinking. Nice foresight.
Yeah, no, it's a Fish 2000.
Yeah.
I made it for the fish show that they had at Big Cypress in Florida. It was a New Year's show, and it was about, God, I forget how many people were there, 40,000 people or something. But we got there, and it was the first piece where I'd been working on these other pieces that are around here. There's number 1
Grab
in
it.
the
There's
case
one right
over
there.
and this is number 3. This is some pieces from that time frame. This is about 1999.
Hold it nice and still.
So like this piece was built in 1999. It's called number 3. At first I was numbering these fancy aquatic pieces. I'd been experimenting with large-scale stuff for maybe half a year or something, but I was really kind of holding my punches on the pattern work a little bit because they're so risky to make. The technical process of joining so many parts was difficult, so I wanted to have minimum amount of work in the pieces so that when they broke, which they did on a regular basis, it wouldn't be such a big deal. And when I got confident with the construction, I started making these bigger and elaborately decorated pieces. Like that one over there is number 1 in the case, and then this one here is number 3. But anyways, at the end of '99, I decided to make Fish 2000, and I'd seen my first fish show earlier that year, and after my first fish show, I was all stoked on this band. I was like, oh, these guys are just great. I love what they're doing with the crowd and with the energy and like getting everyone involved. And so I spent like a month trying to figure out how to make a glass piece that was going to represent this thing that I had seen, this concert. And so it was like this long process of all kinds of like couch meditations and just like really, I spent all this time thinking about it. Finally came up with the design and executed this thing. It was like I barely finished it in time to get on the plane. I was literally warm in my suitcase getting ready to go. I had been scheduled to go home to my parents' house for Christmas, and I just couldn't get on the plane to go there because I had to finish this piece. It was just like it was nuts. But it ended up being a cluster of dolphins spiraling around each other. There's 6 dolphins in it, plus a bunch of fish, and it's a bubbler that hangs on the wall. It's really terrible that I don't have it or a picture. I could probably supply a picture for you if you need it. But it's, tall. The dolphins are, each dolphin is decorated with a different color of dichroic, and then they're joined, and they're dancing in front of a spiral that has 5 different colors of dichroic, one for each dolphin, and they're spiraling together. And the dolphins that are hooked together, the sections that are hooking each dolphin together, is that same spiraled tube stock with each of the 5 colors, so each of the energies is represented going through as these dolphins are like spinning around. And as I was going through, it was just amazing at the show. We were just puffing that thing so tough because we got to the fish show and there was no one had anything to relax with. There was no herb anywhere. They just it just ended up being this crazy puff session the whole time. I have no idea how many people experienced that piece, but it must have been 1,000 at least.
Wow. And you hung on to it. Is that piece not up here because it's been used and so you didn't want to bring it across the border?
It's not up here because there wasn't time for me to prepare it to cross the border.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely, plus it's become so valuable to me that crossing international borders, something that can't be done in a hurry. It's not that I'm scared of it, but you have to be...
Gotta be careful.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what is next for you? This piece here seems to me like it would represent sort of a pinnacle thus far in your path as an artist. Do you have ideas of where you want to go next?
I just keep wanting to make more of these large pieces and installations and stuff. I'm really looking for... I have some ideas to make some pieces with several figures or sentinels like this size in arrangements to fill a space or cover a room or something, a different... Thought about making a piece with I see these guys as kind of like sentinels or warriors or people, entities that are in doing battle or whatever. So I kind of want to arrange some of these guys with in a line, a formation, and then have the black hordes of scorpions and just worms. And I've been doing some really dark experimental stuff with really buggy looking forms and stuff. So I kind of want to bring them
together.
Exactly.
Together, the dark and the light.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for your incredible work and for taking your time this morning, and hopefully you'll come up to Vancouver and play some more. I know you make it up here once in a while.
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice.
Good enough. Max.
Yes.
Welcome to Vancouver.
Thank you.
So that crazy piece in there that you blew, I've never seen anything like that before. What was the inspiration behind that beast, and what do you call it, and what is it, and tell me a little bit about it.
Well, I make a lot of pieces that are similar to that, and I guess I kind of think of them as some kind of a lightning storm or a thunderstorm type of theme. I think my inspiration is probably just growing up in the Northwest, and I feel like my glass is kind of a representation of the nature and all that. It's kind of how I see the world put into glass. So I guess that's part of the inspiration, at least.
How long does it take to create something like that? How many hours of work are we talking about there?
I'd say that there's roughly 100 hours in there, but there's time, there's sitting and waiting, or, time that it takes to heat up. You can only hold a piece that big for a certain amount of time. So, it took me about 2 weeks from start to finish, doing 10-hour days.
And how does it puff? Can you smoke out of it? Does it smoke well?
Yeah,
I'd say... Or is it more of a looker?
It's 100% functional, but, it's also just an art piece, it's never been smoked, and
a little easier to travel over international borders to get it into shows that way.
It is easier.
clean.
You know, FedEx likes it better when it's clean. So.
Totally. How is it for you being a glassblower in America now that you're starting to turn into Mordor down there? You know, that you're in like the land of the dark and oppressive. I know that glassblowers are potentially under a hell of a lot more pressure and facing a lot more risk than they used to.
Yeah.
How is that for you in your world, and how's it changed? Like, what are the risks that you're facing now compared to what you were a year ago or 2 years ago?
Well, you know, it's just a lot different. Before, I don't think there were any potential risks. You know, it was a non-issue, and now I guess there's certain states and even federally people are saying it's illegal to make paraphernalia, which is kind of absurd. You know, I view what we do as something beyond just paraphernalia. You know, if you look at a lot of the pipes, and especially the pipe that you were just talking about, I think, you know, it's beyond a functional level of art glass. It's something that would not be marketed to children, you know. It's things that, you know, it's something that you would see in a stockbroker's house or something.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are the actual risks now or sort of not so much the risks, but the threats that of what they could do to glassblowers? Like, I hate to dig for the scandalous stories.
Yeah, well,
like, do you know any stories of glassblowers that have been sort of facing nasty things recently?
I've never personally met a glassblower that's gotten in trouble for blowing glass. At least in Washington State, you have to, you know, intend it as paraphernalia for it to be considered paraphernalia. And so that's kind of a fine line. I think, you know, a lot of police in Washington have seen glass, you know, and not confiscated it. You know, they appreciate it as art. I think, you know, the laws passed by, you know, the administration in the States right now and Ashcroft, you know, it's not something that represents the country as a whole. You know, it's a small minority that thinks that way, and they happen to be the ones that have the power at this point.
Yeah.
So.
Have you had your pieces in a show like this before, like a proper art show?
No, this is the most properly I'd say they've ever been displayed. Most galleries in the States are afraid to bring in something that could be construed as paraphernalia. So yeah, this is the first time.
Congratulations. I think it's fabulous to have all of you guys brought in from all over and all these incredible headpieces and, you know, showing them off to the public like, you know, that you're artists, because you are.
Great. Thank you very much.
So welcome. Hope you have a fabulous time in Vancouver, and keep up the good work.
Definitely. Thanks.
Okay. It's been an incredible night here at the Melting Point, listening to jazz, snacking on raw food, and talking to some of these incredible artists that are so thrilled to actually be showcased as artists. So thank you for tuning in, and after a month-long hiatus, the Hungry Black Show will be back in action, and we'll see you next week. So until then, take care of yourself. So we're here with Chris and Amethyst, art maker and art lover. What did you think of what you saw today in all those glass boxes? Did you see anything cool?
Yeah.
Yeah? What was cool?
The drummer and the breakdancer.
The drummer and the breakdancer is very cool. Did you see the cool one hanging on the wall? There was kind of like a head with flowers coming out of it?
No.
No? Maybe we'll go look at that one afterwards. Because if you like the breakdancers, you might like that one too. And this guy made it.
Hey,
You know him?
we hang out a lot.
Really?
Not enough, but
Yeah, it's a buddy of yours.
fair amount.
So you know this guy does this glass blowing thing? Yeah? Have you ever seen him do it? No? No?
Probably.
So okay, you can go if you want. You want to stay? Okay. Excuse me, just technical difficulties here. There we go. Now we're settled in. Okay. So that piece that you made in there is incredible, and I'm sure that you hear that all the time. We'll just have to lean in and share a mic here. Your pieces are really different than a lot of what else is out there. You don't seem to have the pipe drive. Can you tell me just a little bit about, like, what's your shtick? What's your passion? What is the thing that motivates you to make what you make? Why do you make it?
That's a tough question.
10 questions in one.
Sure. Where am I coming from? Well, let's see. I live in Bellingham. That's a good start.
Nice.
Thanks,
So
Annabis.
welcome to Vancouver.
Thanks. It's good to be here. So I live in Bellingham, and I work at a shop in town, and I live in town, and I have a tight little community of friends. And in my shop, we have like kind of really good group of people. And so right now I'm at this spot.
Are you part of Amber's harem?
No.
No?
I'm not.
You're not in that collective?
No. It's Brock Marvel and Scott Deppie and Ivan Barrow and Johnny Sternberg and Kaisa Medak and myself. And it's pretty cool. So there's like 6 of us in there.
Do you know some of those other guys?
Too. Tim Cook.
Yeah, these are all your buddies?
There's 7.
Definitely one.
Definitely
My
one.
dad.
Your
Her
dad.
dad, yeah,
Which
dad.
one's your dad?
That's Ivan.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm in a good group right now, and I'm just in a good spot, and I'm having fun. And my work is I don't know. That piece in particular, I drew. I was just drawing some like real rough sketches, and I really don't. I can't really offer much explanation for it. It's just something that I made and I worked through. It probably was about a month in the making, just like different parts that I'd make, and I knew it was all coming together. I didn't know exactly how, but it was like a real rough sketch, and then made parts. And
It's so stunning. It's totally stunning. Do you find that there's a market for your non-smokable pieces?
actually, the one pipe that I have in here is the second like real pipe that I've made. Bubblers. It's the second bubbler that I've made, and I made it for myself. And so I don't really have a market as is right now. I don't have a market at all selling pipes because I don't make them. But I sell a lot of vessels and some sculpture that I make, mostly vessels of different cane worked sections. And like I make teapots, I make tea bowls. I make teapots that you can put on the stove and boil water with. I make wine glasses. I make
I wish that we had a teapot of yours here. I would love to see one of your teapots.
That'll probably happen. I need to. I'm working on finding more venues to show my work, and I'm really excited about this gallery, and this show in particular. And really, for me to kind of to be in this it's a little bit it's different because like it's a movement that's been happening for a little while, and just like. I guess I'm just in this show because I made a pipe. It's cool, and I'm really excited about it, and I'm just excited about it. I don't know.
That's awesome. Yeah, it seems to be sort of a common theme that everybody's really thrilled to be showcased as an artist rather than next to the rolling papers.
It's much like it's long overdue. It's really deserved. This is the way I see it. What's happening in here is an underground art movement that's just now like starting to get attention and it's gaining momentum. I think it's amazing, and the world is ready to see this. as something else. And I don't know, maybe it won't ever get like really large mainstream attention, but it's going to happen anyway. I think it's really cool.
I think so too, and I think your work is absolutely incredible. And I hope you come and play in Vancouver some more.
Yeah.
And do you live in Bellingham too?
Yep.
And are you going to come and play in Vancouver some more?
I don't know.
Have you had any fun here yet?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've had some fun? I hope you come back and visit some more.
I will.
Can you say Happy Canada Day for me?
Happy Canada Day.
Hey.
Where all the action goes down. Yeah. Where all the goodies are made. Yeah.
Did you get a piece?
No, but I'd love one.
Are you my friend?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Fucking Noopies
What's
get the best
going
fight. The Noopies are taking over this shit. Hey,
Fucking newbies in the house finally here.
nobody told me it was gonna be this hot. I brought an ice pipe. Son of a bitch melted.
Here's a nice pipe right here.
Yeah,
going on?
They serve it up.
The treats were probably done now. There's just some raw lasagna going around.
That stock, can I grab the stock of celery over there?
Yeah. What's up, Al?
But you're creating a new genre here with your pipes. I mean, you know, when I first met Bubbleman, his incredible $20 shelf with $20,000 worth of glass on it, he was the first glass collector. First time I ever heard the name Jason Lee. First time I heard the name Marbleslinger, started seeing these pieces and understood that this was a collectible medium. This wasn't just into your local head shop. So, you know, you guys are creating a whole new genre as you go along with this art form. It's not just into the head shops anymore. Collectors are coming on. This is the first real brick and mortar indication I've seen, of getting all these pieces in one place together to really drive it. I think this is going to be the first of many. That's just my, you know, what I see. I don't know, you guys see a lot more of it. You live in it, but I mean, just from my perspective, seeing all these pieces
This is a nice show, yeah.
at one time together, I mean, you're going to see this written up in different articles, you're going to see it show up in different places, and you're going to generate just the vibe and that hype is going to generate more people saying, hey, I can buy this, I can collect this. You know, there's a lot of people out there with money that will spend.
I know, I had the background picture of Marcel looking at guns, and I'm like, that's pretty perfect. I gotta go talk to them while they're holding those guns.
Shoot that shit.
See you on the.
It's okay. You're out
On the camera.
Yeah.
Good
She's
shot.
out. I gotta talk to these guys right here. Thank you guys for talking. We'll probably talk more too before you leave. What's up with these guns?
Let's talk about it. I don't mean to point it at anybody in a bad way. I really
No,
don't.
see, that's part of the entire deal, though. That's one of the best.
Start pointing at somebody, you're
See
like,
that? Check that out. Isn't that
What does
horrible?
that mean?
Were you raised your whole life not to point guns?
absolutely.
It's great. You see how uncomfortable I've already made you? I love it. That's the whole.
But what was the idea you were saying about the smoking gun? Part of your statement there.
You see your friends.
Yeah, check out
That's
Chris.
like this.
Chris is our buddy. Look at him.
What the fuck is that?
Yeah, you see.
Why would I put my mouth on a fucking gun and smoke it?
Yeah. You see how it works? It works so well.
That thing's close. Let me see that thing. So what is that? Is that a pipe?
I like the way this one fits. That one fits.
It's a gun.
Why did you make a glass gun? That's a pipe.
To make people uncomfortable.
Really? So is it more, did you make that more as an art piece or more as just a functional pipe?
It's a performance piece.
How does it work?
You put weed in it.
And then? How does the performance part of it work? You shoot yourself?
I think it's interesting the way people handle it.
Put the gun down, no! You see the performance involved?
It just,
Shoot it at your buddies and everything.
Yeah.
Gun your friends down before turning the weapon on yourself.
so what does that have to do with smoking? What does that have to do with herbs and smoking? Why a gun? Why are you gunning your friends down with a pipe? Why is it a pipe? Why do you need that part of the performance?
Because if it's not a pipe, you won't stick it in your mouth and you won't have the discomfort associated with watching people do an obviously like morbid and suicidal act.
Why not a dildo then maybe?
Nisha said it was killer.
A dildo would work too. Maybe I'll make one of those next.
That one feels
Let me ask you, Ham, about your motivation behind Rebirth through Scavenger Tree. What's up with that piece?
Yeah, did you see the clips? They were hot. I was
What
like,
do you
oh,
want? You want the story or what?
Yeah, let's hear whatever. What's up with that piece? It's a pipe, it's a sculpture, I don't know.
It's a tree. It's a scavenger tree. And it's found a pile of somebody's forgotten dead bones and it's consuming them greedily and it's eating its bones. But see, the bones are clean and there's no guilt associated with these bones. The tree didn't kill anything, it's just a scavenger. But through its consumption of the bones, it's causing the regrowth of the man whose bones it was. But the guy's trying to break free. He's struggling to get out of the very thing that's leading to his rebirth.
So, what about the bowl and the carb and the mouthpiece and the fact that you can smoke out of it? Why make that sculpture a pipe to express that? What does the pipe aspect have to do with it?
So that you have to use it in an interaction. Sitting on
So is it meant to function?
ceremony.
What about these other pieces?
Those pieces are old. I don't remember those pieces.
What do you think of that Jason Lee piece?
I think it's so cool. Look at it. It's awesome.
Why is it cool though?
Because it's a thing, not just a pipe.
Why? Let me answer a question. In terms of your glass, expressing yourself through glass, why bother making pipes? Why a pipe? If you want to exchange, if you want to pass stuff around, why not make it a goblet? Why not? Why does that have to function?
Because who else is so enthusiastic about cool glass
Then
than people who want to buy pipes? You know? Who else is so enthusiastic?
I don't know. So, like, how did you get into blowing glass? Because of pipes, or?
No, I saw some guy at a county fair or something when I was like 11 years old. And I knew that I was going to blow glass.
And so when did you start blowing glass? Like, when the first time you ever put it?
I got a little butane torch once when I was about like 16 or something, or 15 or something, and I tried to melt some glass and it didn't go well. And then I bought like a welding torch from the welding store, just like 18 oxygen tank and a pair of Snodgrass special $50 water glasses. And,
Snodgrass glasses.
Snodgrass specials, yeah, $50.
Sicky. What year was that?
6 years ago or something.
98.
Went home and started melting some glass. That was like.
When did you break your first pipe?
Heard about then. You know, pipes were just like happening.
Right.
So it was a good.
Had you seen anyone else blow glass before you actually went out?
Yeah,
Or you saw someone when you were 11 and but like, you know.
No, I started blowing glass in Corvallis, and all the other cool Corvallis guys were ahead of me a little ways. And right about the time I was starting to blow glass, they all left to move up to like Seattle and Japan and shit. So then it was like me alone, and like I knew you could blow cool glass because, you know, like the Mobius shop and shit. And but there was nobody there to like show me how to blow cool glass. I did weird shit like sticking wire in there and trying to like melt rocks into it.
I remember I met you I worked in that 49th Street shop, that Mobius shop for a while, and I remember meeting you when you came out once to like, and you knew Jason really, I didn't know you at all. The piece you brought up then was so much more standard compared to your work now. Like, it was more like you were trying to text. It was like double layered inside out, I think, or something like that. Or like, I don't know, I'm trying to remember what that piece looked like. I don't know.
Cool glass. I'm stoked to see these old pieces.
So what do you think's coming next?
Cool glass.
Does like Operation Pipe Dream scare you away at all from making glass? It change anything for you? No? How do you mostly sell your work?
I don't know yet. I'm just getting back to it.
Been on hiatus.
Yeah. I've been making the G-boat.
My life, it's my life, it's my life. And it's your life, it's your life, it's your life. But if we come together for one life, we're coming from behind. Spiritual warriors are on a mission, showing the world our watch. Spiritual warriors trotting from behind, trotting forward at this time. So let's turn the tables. Yes, I and I come to turn the tables, turn the paradigm around. Yes, deprogram and reprogram, free mankind. Spiritual warriors are on a mission, showing the world our watch. Spiritual warriors trotting from behind, trotting forward at this time. The mindset of the people, children, true children seeking for the via, the way, path to go through. I and I come to freedom, freedom, with a light in the candle. Spiritual warriors are on a mission, showing the world our watch. Spiritual warriors trotting from behind, trotting forward at this time. Spiritual warriors are on a mission, showing the world our watch. Spiritual warriors trotting from behind, trotting forward at this time.